The 49ers win 2 in a row now. They beat the Buccaneers fairly easy, but not so fairly easy. We'll talk about it about 2 minutes here. New Sprint Red Option Podcast starts now.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.
Sprint Ride Option Podcast.
Oh my goodness. We are live. I'm Andrew Pasquini, sitting in my apartment in Sacramento. Jason Aponte in a hotel somewhere in California. We're not going to reveal where it was, but it was somewhere near Levi's Stadium because Jason Aponte was at that game. Jason, how you doing? Beautiful Sunday evening, afternoon, whatever you want to call it. 49ers win. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Again, watched a little bit at the end. It felt like it was over early. As usual, the 49ers don't like having boring games for some reason. So, yeah.
I don't like it. The spread was actually 13, and the Niners just did not seem to want to break that number, and they didn't. They end up winning by 13. So let's get into it, Jason. The 49ers beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 27-14. As I mentioned at the top, it was it felt like it was never in doubt, but the Niners could never really put it away. It was kind of weird. The offense really stalled out. You saw some of that frustration on Christian McCaffrey's face, kind of angry he wasn't able to get that first down on that fourth down attempt on that fourth and short. But Niners end up being able to hold on, put it away, and we're feeling good. It's a win, and that's really what the bottom line should be. I know some people are going to be sickos and complain about the quality or how they looked, but the Niners win. Overarching thoughts, Jason?
Look, a win that, again, obviously the better team won. When you watch how this game unfolded early, you saw the offense kind of start slow, and you don't like to see that right out of the bat with the script. But, man, another great game by Brock Purdy. Christian McCaffrey scores. And it's the subtle things with the play calling, like for instance, like that little motion of McCaffrey just moving to the left and having his defender follow him while he gets a running start to the other side. That's stealing, and that's just the subtle stuff. So look, there was a lot of things that were there. Again, that should be cleaned up. Obviously, we have to figure out what's going on with Hufanga, in terms of the injury, but. Shout out to Jair Brown. It's about time. And honestly, Tig thought that he was going to be on the field a lot in 3 safety sets, especially when I spoke to him. So him, being able to step in, obviously get around the ball, because Hufanga's thing was kind of like the ball finding him.
Yes.
Well, it's finding Tig now too. So like you got to kind of, again, you hope the Huff is good. You like to see that when someone's pressing a duty like Tig was, you get that sort of thing. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I like that. And we'll talk Tig, we'll talk Hufanga, we'll talk all that once we get to the secondary, because I do want to give Steve Wilks some credit on that play call. We'll talk about it when we get there. Let's start at the quarterback position. And Mr. Irrelevant to Mr. Perfect, dare I say, Brock Purdy. 333 on 21 of 25 pass attempts, 3 touchdowns, 158.3 passer rating. For the people who don't know football, we decided a long time ago that 158.3 is a perfect passer rating. When I think of people like, Margot Robbie or Jason Aponte or Trish Stratus, I think perfect 158.3.
Hold on 1 second.
Yes.
The idea that you even throw my name in with those people as perfect, like, come on, man. I think
looking like a
one of
snack
these
last night at dinner, let's be honest.
One of these is not like the other. One of these
definitely it's Margot Robbie, Jason Aponte.
No, it's not. It's Jason Aponte.
But yeah, no. So Purdy 158.3. Maybe his best throw of the game, unless I'm forgetting one, is that big 76-yard touchdown to Brandon Ayuk that just barely got over that Tampa Bay defender. I forget who it was. He got hurt on the play. I said it was 52 air yards. It was actually 42 because I suck at math. Purdy's back foot was on the 49ers 15-yard line. Ayuk caught it at the Tampa Bay 43. I thought Brock Purdy didn't have a big arm. And I think I saw a good tweet a couple minutes ago, forgot who had it. Baker Mayfield is what Steven Ruiz thinks Brock Purdy is. And I think we saw that a little bit today because Brock Purdy just looked fantastic. I think that's 6 touchdowns in the last 2 games. No interceptions after 3 consecutive games with an interception against another defense that is in the top 5 of turnover percentages. So what did you think of Mr. Brock Purdy?
Another great game for him. Again, it's been moments. It hasn't been games, but largely this is how he's played. I think it's a little bit of a time where we can start to stop worrying about whether this is who he is or who he's not. I mean,
Yep.
he's been playing too well. Obviously, if you want to nitpick, you can say defense, who did he face? Again, things like that. But I mean, it's just too many games in this of this in a row. Like again, it doesn't have to be a grand statement, but you have to be impressed. Again, just that throw to Ayuk, it was a dot, man. Like that, he couldn't have walked it into his hands any better. So all the other little things, right? Like the layered throw to Ayuk in the in zone over the middle before the window gets open. Like those are things that 49ers quarterbacks are not used to, or 49er fans are not used to seeing. And being able to let that thing go before he makes his move and it's in the window and it's right where it needs to be. Like those things he makes look routine. And yet I still find those so impressive. Obviously, the 74-yard touchdown is what's going to be harped upon. But man, I'm just all those other throws that he makes look easy. I think those are more impressive because there's more of those than there are those, even though he can hit them when he wants to.
Yeah, but you mentioned the defense thing too, Jason. A point I made on the throwaway, and I actually wrote an article about it, NinersNation.com. We still right there, Jason. Don't know if they know it. Is Brock Purdy has now faced, at least currently, things are obviously going to change. But entering this week, he's now faced all four of the other teams in the top five of forcing turnovers. The Niners are one of the top five teams defensively in forcing turnovers. The other four teams in terms of turnover percentage, it was Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Cincinnati, and then today Tampa Bay. Purdy in those four games only has 4 turnovers, 3 against Cincinnati, 1 against Pittsburgh. But really, and the NFL is such a week-to-week sport, who are the last 2 defenses he's faced? Oh, it's Jacksonville. Oh, it's Tampa Bay, 2 of the better teams forcing turnovers. And what does he do? 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. And Jason, I think I said it earlier this season before that little stretch, but I think I'm back on it. Brock Purdy's a good quarterback. It's time to say it. It's time to admit it.
And if not, you at least have to say he's playing very good football this season. I'm not going to hold people to the fire. You still have to be able to say that.
Yes, absolutely. So and that's my thing. It's not just these games in a vacuum, but like there was a lot of questions about Purdy after those 3 games, and for him to respond 6 touchdowns, no interception. It's phenomenal. It's good to see it. I think the thing is, and I know I'm technically not supposed to say this name on this podcast anymore, but it feels different than Jimmy Garoppolo. You're winning as much as you were. Let's be honest, the Niners won a lot of games with Jimmy Garoppolo.
They did.
But it really feels like the thing that I always said is you'll win with Jimmy Garoppolo, but he's never the reason you win the game. Brock Purdy's the reason they won this game today. Let's be 1,000% honest. The defense was very, very good. We got to give him that credit. But Brock Purdy, 4 incomplete pass. He almost had as many touchdowns as incomplete passes, dude. 4 incompletions, 3 touchdowns. So yeah, I know, Jesse. Don't say Gator. Don't mess with Gator. That's the picture.
Don't mess with he gets it now. Yeah, that's another guy's reference.
But yeah, man, it's just you really feel like this is the first time that a Niners quarterback is the reason they're winning games as opposed to anything else.
And we talked about it. It's the confidence to know that when the ball leaves the screen, that you're not. It's not about to be in some place that you have no idea what he was looking at, right? Like it's just refreshing. And I think, again, when we were talking about the concerns with this team going into these last few weeks, everybody was worried about the offense. But again, when you don't fumble the football, when you don't penalize yourself, you don't throw interceptions, funny enough how that works, kind of looks like the same offense that were there through stretches in those games, like against Cincinnati and against Minnesota. So the offense was like the least of my worries because I know you're not going to fumble the football all the time. I know you're not going to turn the ball over all those times. But it was more the defense. But like right now, this is what the offense looks like. And this is what the offense is going to look like. Obviously, against better competition, you can expect a dip in results. But man, if you look at this game and you look at how many points the Niners scored, there weren't many times that they didn't stop themselves, like or like just missed on certain things. Like it wasn't necessarily anything that like Tampa was doing. So yeah, man. I mean, this is the offense.
Yeah, no, just the offense feels like it's clicking. It's just working. As I said, the fourth quarter maybe a bit of a concern that they couldn't put it away, but I think that's why you give yourself the 2-score cushion. And when the defense is making plays like they were making in the fourth quarter, it doesn't really matter. I guess that if you want to make a complaint of the offense, there it is. Let's go to the run game. The run game, not much to talk about. Christian McCaffrey, 21 for 78, no touchdowns. Elijah Mitchell, 4 for 24.
That's actually way more encouraging.
Yeah, it is encouraging. I thought it was very interesting too with Mitchell, though. He had 4 touches in 5 plays, and then we just didn't see him again. And then Deebo Samuel 1 carry for -1 yard. And something interesting about that is that was the first play of the game. So Deebo did not get another carry for the rest of the game after the first play.
I'm very interested to go back now and watch these games and see how many times the first play of the game is a Debo handoff, because I feel like that was the Cleveland game that it kind of happened that way as well too. He got injured. I'm not sure if it was the game after that he was back
See if I can
and then
find it.
this one. So like it's kind of weird, like, right? Like, I mean, again, unless I'm misremembering, I know the Cleveland game, the first play was a Debo run. And then when he was back against, God, who did they play? Jacksonville. I don't know if it was the first one, but that's at least 2 instances I could say that Debo touches the ball the first time.
I'm trying to look it up real quick.
Oh, this is great TV. Apparently, let's see. Seattle's about to lose, really, and I heard.
Yeah,
Geno Smith got injured.
Seattle is Los Angeles. I have it up on the other screen. Los
Yeah.
Angeles is driving. I'm not going to be able to find out really quick, Jason. So we're
No,
going to
you're
leave
good.
that
The
hanging.
Rams-
Maybe you mentioned it in an article. I
Yeah,
have
the
an
Rams-
interesting. Go ahead.
Go ahead. The Rams seem to own Seattle.
Well, it doesn't help that Geno Smith's out. That definitely.
Well,
They
they were probably winning before that, right?
Pardon my take likes to they make a reference with the NFC West that Shanahan owns McVay owns Carroll, and then for a bit Carroll owned Shanahan, and then just everybody owned Cliff Kingsbury, and that was kind of the vicious cycle
It's
in
so
the
good.
NFC West.
Very good.
Small stat, last little stat I have on the running game, because the running game was really a non-factor. Let's be 1,000% honest, averaging 3.8 yards per carry. Christian McCaffrey didn't get a carry until I tweeted at the 9:48 mark in the first quarter. That's the longest he's gone this season without a carry. 9:58 mark was his first carry of the game. That's the longest he's gone without a carry. I thought that was interesting. And he
They're
actually
trying to
didn't even
save
have
him,
a
Andrew.
touch up until that point.
Clearly, they've been listening.
Yeah, clearly. Got to get the third string running backs more touches, I guess. I don't know. Receivers.
Oh wow.
Receivers, 5 receptions, 156, and a touchdown for Brandon Ayuk. Obviously, the 76-yard touchdown. George Kittle, 8 for 89, a touchdown. Deebo Samuel, 3 for 63. One was a 40-yard touchdown. Jason, I know you're in the stadium, but when Samuel caught the ball on the TV, there was not a single Buccaneer on the TV on that 40-yard catch. That's how much space he had. And then McCaffrey, 5 for 25 with a touchdown. Receivers look good when Purdy's delivering the ball like he was. It's easy to look good. The big play, obviously, is the Ayuk 76-yard touchdown. What you thought about the receivers?
Brandon Ayuk was really good. You know, like that. And again, the Tampa Bay Bucs have been susceptible to that, like through the air. Carlton Davis has actually been pretty good this year, but again, it's the throws, it's the way that they were able to operate their offense. It's you know, and then Deebo Samuel does things like that. Like again, it's like those throws that like you see on the over routes to Ayuk to Samuel. They just become, I think they're not impressive to people because people have already had it in their mind. One, Kyle Shanahan's probably getting those guys open as opposed to like they're good football players as well too. And two, that like Purdy makes those look routine, man. So again, that long touchdown, that was a thing of beauty. I don't want hyperbole. Like I hate it. But man, that's one of the better throws I've seen from a 49ers quarterback, like live ever, and also on TV either way, because I watched it a million times on the replay. So, yeah, man, Brandon Ayuk, pretty good. Deebo Samuel, pretty good at football. This is all the breaking news you need to know here.
Yeah, no. We like to keep people up to date with all the big news.
It's a spicy take, Andrew. It's the way that we keep people interested. People need panic, and people need like all that stuff. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, good at football.
Yeah, and we always talk about how it's kind of a pick your poison with the Niners receivers, but I don't know how many games the Niners are going to lose when the 3 big receivers, Ayuk, Kittle, and Samuel, and we're going to find out if Andrew could do quick math here. That's 250, 310, 310 of the yards were the big 3. Hey, I don't know how many games you're going to lose.
All right, more breaking news. Ready, Andrew Pasquini?
Yes.
Getting the ball in the hands in the hands of your playmakers works.
Yeah. Weird how that works. Weird how it works.
Right.
Offensive line, Jason. I don't know. I'm not good at these post-game shows with the offensive line because I usually look at the numbers. 4 sacks allowed. I know the last sack. Who was that had the 2 sacks for Tampa? I'm totally drawn. Yaya Diaby. He had 2 sacks. The second one. McKivitz and Burford didn't look very good. They both kind of got cooked by their guys. But other than that, like I don't feel comfortable talking offensive line until I really see the pressure numbers, just to kind of see. So did you have any thoughts offensive line? I saw a few people mentioning Georgia Von Jinks saying both lines were underwhelming. We'll talk about the defensive line in a little bit, but not much for me.
I'm gonna echo Andrew Pasquini's sentiments and say I have to watch over again. It's
Yeah.
hard in the stadium to see those things, especially when you're
Yep.
trying to watch everything all together. So I don't want to make any grand proclamations or anything like that. I know Vita Vea is very good, and that's something that a lot of people
dude, he just
forgot.
eats
Yeah,
up
dude, a
space.
lot of people forgot that he didn't play the last game. Tampa
Yeah.
and San Francisco was there, and he's a monster. Like the way that he eats up interior linemen, man, I think that was something that people forgot. So, I don't feel as comfortable talking about that as well because I couldn't tell from play to play everything that was going on and who would be responsible for anything.
Yeah, I think I had Williams allowing a pressure, but that was even just a free. The Yaya Diaby's first sack, I credited Williams for it. That's really all the notes I have. For if you guys want to hear offensive thoughts, I'm sure our offensive line thoughts. I'm sure Jason's gonna have a podcast or two this week where he'll talk about it. There's actually one specifically where he talks with an offensive lineman, so I'm sure there'll be a conversation on state of the franchise this week about the offensive line after you guys watch the film. So we're gonna skip the offensive line. I hope that's okay. I hope that's okay with you guys. Defensive line. I thought the defensive line played pretty good. 4 sacks, Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. I guess Warner qualifies as a linebacker, so it doesn't work here, but they combined for that sack, forced the fumble. I thought the pressure was there, man. I thought the pressure was there all game. I felt like Baker was running quite a bit. I think his one interception was part of a pressure, if I remember correctly. I think Bosa was back there and Young was back there. I think I said it a couple weeks ago, man, or after last week's game. I know I was concerned about the lack of sacks, but now when you're starting 4 defensive line, it's Chase Young, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead, and Nick Bosa. By the way, Armstead's sack numbers are going up, man. It's amazing how this is working. You're putting names around him, and his sack numbers are going up. I'm less concerned about the sack numbers. I am now back on the pressures or what makes this defense go.
Chase Young deserves half a sack for Eric Armstead's sack. Chase Young absolutely whipped the tackle on that play. That's all I could notice, and it forced Baker to move into a spot where Armstead cleaned up.
I'm going to give you just real quick, since this is happening, I'm going to pause you. 4th and 4, 134 left, 22-yard attempt, Rams down 2. 4th and goal at the 4. Ball is snapped. Kick is
Field
up.
goal.
Kick is good. It is
Rams
17-16 with 1:31 left. Seattle's getting the ball back, and Geno Smith was warming up on the sideline. This is important because
Drew Lock was playing all game.
Yeah, Drew Lock is. Let's see what's going on. Lock is moving. Geno's moving. I'll tell you who's coming out for this drive. This is a big game though, because if Seattle loses, the Niners have a full game lead in the division entering Thursday against the Seahawks. The Niners actually. How are we doing this math? 3 weeks. This is game 4. This is game 10, 11, 12, 13. The Niners could hypothetically be up 4 games after week 13 after this Seattle if they win all 3 and Seattle loses in between. So that's something to watch. Sorry, Jason, I didn't mean to cut you off with your defensive line thoughts. You want to keep going?
Cleveland Farrell causes the fumble. That's also very good. But man, that Chase Young pressure, I can't wait to get the film and look at that back because I saw it like 2 and 3 times. I was like, man, 92 just wrecked that whole play, and Armstead set it up. So yeah, again, the Bucs don't have a bad offensive line at all, right? Like, that's another thing we should talk about. Like, obviously, everybody loves Tristan Wirfs, but they're fine on the offensive line. It's not like it was some sort of mismatch or anything like that. So. I definitely noticed the Chase Young play. I definitely noticed that he didn't start early. They're still starting Cleveland Farrell. Shout out to Jim Everett.
Geno is taking the field.
All right, Geno's back in, but hey, man.
So Geno has a minute 31, no timeouts to get Seattle into field goal range. So I'll keep you updated. Okay. Jason, is that it on the defensive line thoughts? You want to get the linebackers? We're blowing through this episode. I love it. Linebackers. Like your receiver talk, Jason Aponte, I'm here to break the news that Fred Warner is pretty damn good at football. 12 tackles, 10 solo, half a sack, 2 pass deflections. Did they give Cleveland the forced fumble, or was it I thought Warner got it. Am I mistaken?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, if the numbers aren't out, it sounded like Cleveland.
No, well, I thought it was Warner, but that's okay. Well, I'm sure we could find it at some point. But Fred Warner is very good at football. I don't know what else to say. Dre Greenlaw, 8 tackles, half of a sack of his own, 2 pass
dropped interception.
deflections. We like it. We like this linebacking core.
Dropped
Not
interception.
much to say.
Got it.
Was
Got to
it-
bring that in Greenlaw. Got to bring that in Greenlaw. The
Oh
dropped
yeah,
interception.
dude. That
You got to
I
bring
feel
that
like
in.
the Niners had like 3 or 4 near intercept. Because who had the one that Ward got hurt on? Who had
Gibson.
that dropped one?
Gibson.
Gibson, yeah, it was Gibson, and that's a play. I mean, here I'll let you share your thoughts on the linebackers because I think the secondary is going to get a good portion of this episode. So you want to go with linebackers? We talk secondary.
Yeah, no, look, Greenlaw, obviously that the hand just hit him right in the damn hands. Like it was such a But hey, look, doesn't matter. I think that was on 3rd down, also, by the way, where it looked like Baker didn't see him as an underneath guy, and we got a donation from Double B Studio. Kyle Shan's stale 4th quarter offense. Fred and company kept Tampa from becoming a close game. Yeah, maybe. But there were plays that were made by the defense, like at the end, like that, on 3rd down, you allowed them to convert like a 4th and 10 to Mike Evans, and like there was the defense wasn't on the field that long. I mean, I remember there was a point in this game where the 49ers had almost close to 20 offensive plays before they even got to 5. So like the defense wasn't worn out, so they could look again. It's a win. And thank you for the donation, but like I think it's a little bit of give and take.
Well, yeah. So what it was at the end of the first quarter, the Niners ran 17 plays, the Tampa Bay's 9. The game ended with Tampa Bay running 67 plays, the Niners running 59, and the time of possession was Niners 31 minutes, Tampa Bay 29. So that first quarter, the Niners offense really dominated, kept the ball, but it got closer and closer throughout the game. I think a lot of it was, I mean, you can't go. You can't go. Oh man, it's upside down now. You can't go 3 and out. Turnover on downs up 3 scores in the 4th quarter. So like that, I get, but you got to remember too that it's a 4th and 1 situation. You want to keep it close, and obviously Christian McCaffrey doesn't get it. But I'm not going to harp too hard because, as I said, that's why the defense is there. So if the offense isn't great, defense gets it done. And then what's up with special teams? Yeah, man, the penalties are obviously an issue. The punt return's obviously an issue. I thought kickoff coverage was pretty good this game. And then Moody was 2 for 2. So I thought special teams was fine other than the punt return.
The punt return, yeah, that's it. That's the one. But like when you're looking at it, you can't kick it straight. What is it? They were saying on the broadcast, I think I heard. It's called a boomerang by the special teams. If you kick it low with no hang time, then it's going to come right back to you. And it literally like had them right there on the doorstep.
Yeah, I don't like it. All right, secondary talk, Jason Aponte, and I think. Go ahead.
No, yep. I'm ready.
I thought you were cutting me off. Okay.
Yeah. Nope,
Secondary talk. I think the most important play of the game. 2 plays of the game. We mentioned the Gibson near interception at the 6:50 mark in the 4th quarter, 2-score game. Charvarius Ward and Gibson connect with each other. Ward's slow to come off. You already have Jair Brown, who stepped in because Talanoa Hufanga was ruled out with a knee injury, got juked pretty good, had to be carted off out of the blue tent.
Who was that, Rashad White?
I think it was Rashad White, which they mentioned. I think Rashad White has like the most broken tackles this year or something.
They were mentioning somebody test him for that because we saw it in the stands and everybody was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, that was an insane one. So now the Niners, they come out. It's a 4th down, 2-score game. The Niners, Steve Wilkes. I'm going to use tantalizes Baker Mayfield, stacking Isaiah Oliver, who's taking his first snap of the game, and Jair Brown, who on his first play, or one of his first play, got beat for a 44-yard reception. So obviously they put Mike Evans into the slot. Press coverage. Oliver blitzes out of the slot, forces a quick throw. Jair Brown breaks it up. That felt like the game-ending play. And it really was. I mean, Tampa Bay, obviously they had the kick return, the punt return to kind of set them up again. But Tampa Bay was on a 17-play drive, and they end a 17-play drive down 2 scores in the 4th quarter. DK with a catch, field goal range. No timeouts. I got to move. 17-play drive, no scores on a down 2 scores. That's a huge swing of momentum. So I want to shout out Jair Brown. We're going to talk about him in a minute. But that play to have that set up with 2 guys who not many snaps in the game stacked on top of each other, send Isaiah Oliver on the blitz to kind of force the throw, pass breakup. I don't remember specific defensive calls as well as I remember offensive calls, Jason, but I'd be hard pressed to find a better defensive play call from Steve Wilkes this season than that decision right there.
Yeah, and the intercept, the first the breakup of the touchdown to Cade Otton, right? Like it was being bobbled and Tig finishes the play. But again, it's always like confidence. What did you see? One play that can stack onto the other. And if Tig has to play, they obviously liked him enough to draft him as high as they did.
Yep.
They did have plans for him. I do think that, again, I'm not trying to downplay the loss of Hufanga, depending on what it is, but obviously it doesn't look good. But for me, the idea that you drafted Tig was to obviously replace Gibson. And then it's funny because in the first few plays that he was on the field, Tig starts in the strong safety spot, moves out of free safety. Again, like that whole idea of strong safety, free safety has been kind of overblown. And when you're able to rotate them in ways that confuse the defense, they'll both be put in oh no.
Yeah, we have some breaking news coming across as we're speaking about it. Adam Schefter just tweeted, 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan told reporters that safety Talanoa Hufanga, quote, most likely tore his ACL. There will be further testing to confirm their belief. That's a blow. That's a blow. So now it's Jair Brown. It's Jair Brown time. And I hate this timing because the kick is coming, 55-yard attempt. It is up. It's no good. It's hooked. It's no good. Seattle's lost. Seattle's lost. The Rams win 17-16. 49ers have a 1-game lead in the NFC West. Seattle 6-4. 49ers sitting at 7-3. But yeah, I mean, Hufanga, obviously a huge loss. It's tough spot because now it's Jair Brown time, and this is why you traded up for him. This is why you used him with your first pick in the 3rd round. And now there's a lot of pressure on the young man. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
There is, but again, the roles and the way that they play the football in terms of playing downhill and being a ball hawk, that's what Tig is. And I think this is a perfect spot, like right here for him. And again, you obviously never want to see somebody get injured and lose their season. Again, I hope Hufanga, works it out, gets better, and comes back next season. But Tig occupies that same kind of role on the field in terms of like in the middle, lurking around, could possibly blitz, be somebody who's fast on the football. So it's his time. He's got to step up. And, again, one thing I'll point to is this organization wanted him. They clearly went out of their way with their first pick to make sure that they got him. So I do think that they will be behind the young man. And from everything that I know about him and in his skill set, I think he's as equipped as anybody to step in and immediately fill that role.
Another member of the secondary I thought had a pretty good game, Travarius Ward. I thought Travarius Ward had
a one catch.
What?
The one catch. Who was it?
He got mossed a little bit.
Yeah, was that Trey Palmer?
I believe it was Palmer. He had Palmer a lot. I thought, man, you want to talk about maybe a decision that saved the game for the Niners, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Mike Evans, 12 receptions, 12 targets, 5 receptions. I feel like he was matched up on Ambry Thomas most of the game, and I felt like Palmer was on Travarius Ward quite a bit. But I felt Travarius Ward had a very good game, and that's good to see because I feel like he was kind of catching some flack for these secondary issues.
Yep.
We were talking about a few weeks ago.
Especially
he's obviously the guy who had the interception ripped out of his hands against Minnesota that kind of started this whole thing. So that's a very good game. So I'm very interested to see what his PFF numbers look like tomorrow in terms of that. Deshaun Gibson had a couple near interceptions. I just thought, I think last week, obviously 3 points against Jacksonville obviously is going to be your best performance of the season. But I think pound for pound, this might have been their best performance of the year. I really think that they came up when they needed to. They came up with the big play when they needed to. And kind of like a lot of last year, it wasn't the prettiest at some points, but when the defense needed to come up big, the defense came up big, and we saw it with Jair Brown having the game-sealing interception. Just an overall good game. I was really encouraged by the secondary this game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Again, even if the score doesn't bear it out because it is a little bit like what is it, 2-score win?
Yeah,
Still, this was
27-14.
right. Like this was one of those wins that the 49ers kind of needed to have. Like not 35-3, not 41-3, like
Yes.
anything like that. Like they needed to kind of win one of these games where even though the score isn't indicative of how close it was in terms of, you needed two. The 49ers kind of had to get it out the mud in the fourth quarter there. And I think that's something that they have to kind of check off their box if they want to be the team that they believe they're going to be going forward into January, right? Like you have Seattle this week, and then you get Philadelphia, right? Like, and so like we're in the stretch right now where it's like Seattle, Philadelphia, like obviously the Hufanga thing hurts, but you got 2 wins, you feel better. Chase Young's gonna play some more. You have to start playing your best football right now if you have any chance at the number 1 seed, and the 49ers right now are doing that. So I think that's the good thing.
And they have a really good stretch to do that because it's not just their schedule with Seattle, Philly, Seattle, but Jason, we've mentioned it. Philly goes Kansas City, Buffalo, San Francisco, Dallas, and then you look at what Seattle does. I don't have Seattle's schedule off the top of my head, so I apologize. Got to Google it real quick. They go 49ers, and then when the Niners play the Eagles, Seattle has the Cowboys. They go 49ers again, and then it's Eagles. So, like, we could be talking here about, I believe if it's one game, so let's just do this math real quick. If the Niners beat Seattle, they're up 2 games. If the Niners beat Philly and then Seattle loses the Dallas, they're up 3 games. Niners could go up. If the Niners go 3-0 over the next 3 weeks and Seattle goes 0-3, which obviously would go hand in hand because they play each other twice, the Niners would be 4 games up with 4 to go with Seattle playing Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Which would essentially put the Niners into the NFC West title if Philly wins the game.
And Andrew, pardon the children that'll be listening, try to bleep it out. Don't get it fucked up. Monday, we're all in on the Chiefs. Like, we're all in on the Chiefs. And then the 49ers got to do what they have to do. They have Buffalo, I think, the week after that as well. Who knows? Maybe Buffalo will show up and be a different team and play a little bit better. But the 49ers have it right in front of them. If they want to catch Philly, you can play them in 2 weeks and figure this out yourself. So you need a little bit of help. But right now, after these last 2 games, I like the fashion that they came out of the bye because they made a statement. But this one is a really good win because they've done something they haven't done all year, which is kind of win one of these muddy games where things like get a little hairy at the end as opposed to just running away with the 35-3.
Is this how nice like it is to be a 49er fan though? Because we're talking about a 2 possession win is like, man, we had to sweat that one out. I mean, it was a pretty slow second half. I mean, the Niners scored 14. They get 27, but Tampa Bay held the 7 points in the second half, and we're talking about like, man, Tampa Bay had a chance to go down and tie the game at the very end, but it wasn't there. And Fred Warner mentioned after the Cleveland game, they got to learn how to win ugly, and this might have been their ugliest win of the season, even though it's still a 2 possession game. So nice times to be a 49er fan. We love it. Jason, we're pretty much there, man. You want to throw 3 stars?
Before we do 3 stars, Andrew Pasquini.
Yes.
It is 4:38 on the West Coast. And there is a football game that is about to happen in a few moments, and it's not going to end at nearly midnight. I don't understand what time warp I'm living in. Why is this happening? Like, and what kind of sorcery this is?
Yeah, I honestly, if I was telling you yesterday, like you should do the whole wake up at 9:45 in the morning and panic that you slept in too late, you haven't set your lineups. But I know setting your lineups takes like 4.5 hours for you because you have
it doesn't take 743
teams.
It's not 743 teams. I think I did a good job. Shout out to Tank Dell. Let's go.
Tank Dell, we love it. I left Calvin Ridley on my bench today, so look at this bozo.
Yeah, I don't blame you. There was no reason to play him. He hasn't been doing anything.
And then he goes off for 31. You hate it. So really? Jason.
Damn. Okay, no. Oh, no.
Jason, 3 stars, 3 stars, 3 stars. Ooh, this is going to be a tough one because I feel like there's a few players. I think my 3rd star is going to be Brandon Ayuk. 5 receptions, 156. I think if you remember last year, Jason, there was really a big watch on that 1,000-yard marker for Ayuk, his first 1,000-yard season. He got there, and I think he finished with a lot of yards last year. I'm trying to find it. 10-15. He's already with 158 today. He's already at 815, and we're barely halfway through the season. So he's on pace to absolutely a ball. And hey, Jason, not to like flex, but your boy in like May said my hot take for the Niners is Brandon Ayuk finishes top 5 receiving yards. Don't know where he's at right now. I haven't looked at it, but Brandon Ayuk is just really dominating this season. He is not even in the top 10. He's top 15, but we'll see what it looks like tomorrow once Pro Football Reference updates.
I mean, he has missed the game.
He has missed the game. So Brandon Ayuk, 3rd star for me.
George Kittle, man, just continue to get the guy involved. It's too easy. The touchdowns are there. It's starting to look like now Brock and him are starting to get back into a place that they were down the stretch last season as well too. Who knows how much of whatever injury was ailing George in the beginning was kind of getting him to start. However, again, certain games had game scripts where it didn't force them to pass and things were already out of the way when you're throwing touchdowns to Ayuk or McCaffrey scoring touchdowns. But George Kittle's in a hell of a groove right now, man. Keep it going. And I think moments like this and stretches like this, they reopen the discussion about where George Kittle is amongst the tight end hierarchy, because there's so many games that he just goes away for whatever reason, whether it's run blocking, pass blocking, or they just don't throw him the football. But shout out to you, George Kittle. It's good to see you, man.
We love it. My number 2 star, Jair Brown, entered late in the 3rd quarter. First play of the 4th quarter, he gets beat on a 44-yard pass. What does he do? He has a pass breakup on a 4th down. He has a pass breakup on a 3rd down. And then he has the interception to put the game away on the very next play. Actually, I don't think it was a 3rd down pass breakup. He went pass breakup to prevent a touchdown and then interception on the very next play. That's a way to make an impact. That was I think Rich said the welcome to the NFL moment. And it's almost like he had the welcome to the NFL moment. And then he's like, well, dare I say, welcome to the Jair Brown experience. And that's what he kind of did. So Jair Brown's going to be my 2nd star.
I love that, man. And again, lover for take. I think there's nobody that's more prepared. And again, as long as I have the confidence of this team, this coaching staff, they went out of their way to go get him. You have to feel at least like they are at least confident in the young man, and it's about him to execute. So let's go get it, Take. Number 2 for me is going to be Brandon Ayuk. Sorry. Like I just it's hard for me to not pick the same guys that you picked. And obviously all those things you talked about were super true, but it's week in, week out. Obviously, even in the Bengals game, everybody looks at the drop. But you look at the numbers, you look at how he's open, even this past week against Jacksonville, he only ended up with 55. It's just, I don't want to hear any more about Kyle Shanahan's scheme getting Brandon Ayuk open. Brandon Ayuk gets himself open within Kyle Shanahan's scheme. I think you can both say that safely without going over the top. But man, Brandon Ayuk's a hooper, man, and it's good to see those throws that sometimes would either get ignored, turned down, thrown over his head to finally get hit. So, yeah, I mean, and I think we're going to be on the same at number 1 here at this point, right?
I have a gut feeling.
Do it.
Count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Brock
Purdy.
Brock Purdy. Yeah, it's hard to pick somebody it's hard not to pick somebody as a number 1 star who had a perfect passer rating. That's just what it was, man. 158.3, 333, 4 incomplete passes, 21 for 25. I think I saw somewhere that this is only the 3rd time in Niners history that somebody had a perfect passer rating with 10 or more pass attempts. And I believe the other 2 were Steve Young and Joe Montana. But I'm going to look that up because that doesn't sound very right. So I'm going to make sure that's correct. But Jason, I'm sure you got plenty of things to say about Mr. Purdy.
Man, just again, overall, this is what he's looked like for most of the season. We are now the 49ers are now 6-3, 7-3?
Yeah, 7-3.
7-3. So within 10 games, I would say that 8 3/4 of his games have looked like this. That's a good amount. It's a very good amount. And again, when it's bad, it obviously comes at the wrong times when you're talking about the interceptions, but largely his season is this. Largely his season has been these throws and the way that this offense is operated without them killing themselves. So look, Brock, just keep it up, man. Again, I don't care where they put you. You don't got to be better than this guy. You don't got to be better than that guy. Be this guy. If you're this guy, then that's it, bro. The 49ers are about to win a bunch of games.
So the stat is the only 2 perfect passer ratings in 49er history with at least 10 pass attempts was Steve Young, October 22nd, 1989. He went 11 for 12 with 188 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then 3 weeks later, Joe Montana, 16 for 19, 3 touchdowns, 270. So, I mean, you could even make the argument. I know the NFL is a little different than it was in the 80s, Jason Aponte, but maybe the greatest perfect passer rating game in 49ers history, if those are the two we're comparing it to. I just don't know what to say anymore, man. If you, I guess the bluntest way to say it, man, if you are somebody who doesn't believe in Brock Purdy at this point, you're either just okay with being wrong or you're just okay with being a curmudgeon. And it is what it is at this point, man. And if you want to be grumpy and say that he's not the guy because you expected somebody else to take this spot and run with it, then, is what it is at this point. Brock Purdy's a very good quarterback, and I think we need to accept it sooner rather than later, because I think we can move on. Per my quick PFR search, minimum 25 pass attempts with a perfect passer rating, which Brock Purdy had today. It is the 22nd such game. The most recent was Josh Allen in 2023. Tom Brady did it in 2020 before him. So there you go. 22nd game with a perfect passer rating, at least 25 pass attempts. So there you go, man. Brock Purdy, cannot talk about it enough. Jason, I know we're excited. The Niners won. Some people are going to say that it's the most important thing that happened to them this weekend. I'm going to wrap this podcast by telling the people the most important thing that happened to me this weekend.
Oh, what happened?
And I got to hang out, among others, but I got to hang out with Jason Aponte. We hung out in Oakland with our boy Sour Death Sam, a few others.
We got some pictures popping.
We got some pictures coming out.
Yeah, we got a photo shoot coming.
Oh, man. Jason Aponte, the kicker, dare I say, in those photos.
But
it was a beautiful night.
Let's kick this photo shoot off.
Let's kick this. Oh, you need to post the pictures.
No,
and that needs to be your caption.
You do that. You do it. You got the same pictures. You got
Let's kick this photo shoot off. I love it. Yeah, man, it was a good night. We had a good dinner. Had some food. What was it called? Farmhouse Kitchen, a little Thai place in Oakland. Oh,
so good.
Good food.
Incredible. Like literally, pause. Meat in a big bone, and just dropped in your soup.
Need it. But it was a good night, man. I had fun. It was a good time seeing you. I know you're going back tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow.
Gonna miss you. You should come to Sacramento one time. It's not as fun as the Bay, but it's Sacramento.
I'll be back for the NFC title game when they play Philadelphia.
Niners are getting the 1 seed because
the 1 seed.
Wouldn't you prefer it for your pocket though, for it to be in Philly?
Nah, because I don't get to see Andrew Pasquini. Andrew Pasquini and everybody else isn't going to make it over to the East Coast if the 49ers have an NFC title game. I will fit the bill, and I will figure out a way to get out here if we can all hang out and watch the 49ers go to the Super Bowl. And then we're going to Vegas in 2 weeks.
Hey, man, you see what I'm will. I drove an hour and a half to hang out for 4 hours with you, just to drive back another an hour and a half. So I'll do anything for Jason Aponte there.
That's it. I would literally drive to Vegas as well too.
What'd you say about the ramen? Anything I do for Jason,
there you go.
Man, we're gonna get shut down at some point, man.
Yeah, that's it.
Jason Aponte, I hope you have a safe flight back. I don't know what should we plan this week in front of the people? Are we gonna go live?
It's gonna be tough. I think Andrew and I are gonna have to stay in contact because I get back tomorrow at 5. I don't know, man. I might be down to talk this game again, especially because the film's gonna come out and I have a long flight to look back and actually watch it. So possibly tomorrow,
maybe.
If you guys
I'm
are
more
down.
so talking about for Thursday because Niners play Thursday.
Then that means Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be our official preview.
You want to go Wednesday preview?
Yeah, Wednesday preview.
And then I have 2 thoughts with the review. I'm out of town. We could just give people the Thanksgiving. If here, let's make a deal with the Sprint Right option people.
Yep.
If we wait till Monday to give you guys the Thanksgiving weekend, you have to promise not to take in any other 49ers content from after the game until the podcast.
Doubt it.
On Monday, if we so choose to do that. Just to give you,
Doubt.
We're giving you guys the weekend. You got to trade us by not watching anybody else. Go support everybody else, please. It's sarcastic. before people go to Niners Twitter and say, Andrew said don't watch anybody else. I'm joking. I'm joking, but we'll figure it out
you end up blocked.
I want people. It cuts deeper than you think, Jason. I'm so blocked on Twitter by so many people, and I
It
don't
doesn't
get
make
it.
sense. If
But I
anybody should
also
be
get it
blocked,
because I
it's
am
me.
mean sometimes. Yeah.
If anybody should be blocked, it's me. It's not you.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers is coming back this season.
We'll see.
Starting
I
to
don't know
think
about how the Jets are doing.
It's they just lost 32-6.
Well, and at one point, their punter had the most passing yards on the team.
That might still be the case. I'm going to look at the score now. Bucs score. This is what we're ending with. They took Wilson out. Tim Boyle came in.
Tim Boyle
went, Jesus Christ, Jason. Zach Wilson went 7 for 15 for 81. Tim Boyle went 7 for 14 for 33.
That'll show him.
That'll show him. Maybe there's a reason Zach Wilson has played every game and they haven't benched him yet. All right, Jason, I'm gonna let you get out of here. I hope you have a safe trip, man. Good win. Niners defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 27-14. They moved to 7-3 on the season. One game lead in the NFC West with the Seahawks loss. Thank you for watching the Spring Right Option podcast. Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners.
Bang bang Niner gang.
Oh, welcome everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.